Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into something really cool from Amazon Web Services called Strands Agents. It's a powerful new way to build your own AI assistants right on the cloud. And the best part? It's built for everyone, whether you're an expert developer or just getting started. So, let's see what it's all about.
So let's start with a big question. What if an AI could do more than just talk? What if it could actually use tools to solve problems for you? Things like diagnosing a network issue, pulling a sales report, or maybe even finding the best flight. Well, that's exactly the big idea we're digging in today. AI that can take real action.
So, first up, what exactly are AWS Strands Agents? Let's break down the fundamentals of what makes these AI assistants tick. Okay, so at its core, Strands Agents is an SDK, which stands for Software Development Kit. Now, don't let the acronym scare you. Just think of it as a toolbox for developers. It gives you all the essential pieces to build your own AI agent, and you do it by giving it two simple things: a goal and a list of tools it's allowed to use.
And that name, Strands, is actually a perfect hint. You know how DNA has two strands that twist together to create a blueprint for life? Well, these AI agents are built the same way, from two core components that are woven together. Let's take a look at what they are.
All right, so how does it all actually work? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the engine inside these agents, the simple cycle they use to figure things out.
And here are those two DNA strands we were just talking about. On one side, you have the model. This is the AI, the large language model that acts as the brain. It's the part that does all the thinking and reasoning. And on the other side, you have the tools. Think of these as the hands. These are the functions or APIs that let the agent actually reach out and interact with the world to get things done. So how does the brain use the hands? Well, it follows this really simple but powerful loop over and over again. First, it thinks. It looks at the problem and comes up with a plan. Next, it acts. It picks a tool from its toolbox and uses it. And finally, it observes. It looks at what happened, learns from the result, and refines its plan for the next step. Think, act, observe. It just keeps doing that until the job is done.
Okay, so we get what it is and how it works, but why should you care? What makes Strands Agents so powerful in the real world? Let's get into the features that really make this thing shine.
A huge strength is how deeply it plugs into the whole AWS ecosystem. For instance, it connects seamlessly with Bedrock, which is Amazon's service that gives you access to a ton of different AI models, and it works great with Lambda, which lets you run code without ever having to think about servers. That tight integration, plus the fact that it can understand text, speech, and even images, makes it incredibly flexible.
And here's a fantastic real-world example of what that means. AWS actually uses this technology for something called the VPC Reachability Analyzer. A VPC is basically your own private little corner of the AWS cloud. And if a network connection breaks in there, this agent acts like a detective. It automatically investigates, figures out what went wrong, and tells you exactly how to fix it. Pretty amazing, right?
Now, this is where things get really wild, because you're not just limited to one agent working all by itself. No, you can actually build an entire team of agents that work together to solve even bigger problems.
The key idea here is super simple, but it's a total game changer. Remember how agents use tools? Well, what if another agent could just be a tool? This means one agent can call on another, more specialized agent to help it out with a specific task.
This lets you create what's called an agent swarm. And really, the best way to think about it is like a project team at work. You have a main orchestrator agent, which is kind of like the project manager. It gets a big, complex problem, breaks it down, and then hands off the smaller pieces to its team of specialist agents. Maybe one is a data expert, another is a security expert. They all do their part, and then the orchestrator pulls it all together for the final solution.
All right, I know what you're thinking. This sounds awesome, but before you rush off to build your own AI army, we should probably cover the practical stuff. Things like safety and, of course, how much it costs.
The good news is safety is baked right in. You can set up what are called guardrails to put boundaries on your agent so it doesn't go off topic or do anything it shouldn't. It also has features that automatically find and remove sensitive personal info, or PII, which is absolutely crucial for keeping your data private. And what about the price tag? Well, this is the best part. The Strands Agents SDK, the main toolkit, it's completely free and open source. You only pay for the underlying AWS services you actually use. So that means you pay for the AI model's processing time, that's the token usage, and for any computing power your agent needs.
Finally, you should know there are basically two ways you can go about building with us. If you're a developer and you want total fine-grained control, you can use the Strands Agents SDK with Python. But for more structured, repeatable tasks, there's something called Strands Agents SOPs, which lets you set up workflows just by describing them in plain English.
And that brings us to the end. As you can see, this technology lets you build everything from a single, helpful AI assistant to a whole swarm of them working together on huge challenges. The potential is just massive. So, I'll leave you with this one final thought. If you had a team of these tireless, intelligent AI agents at your command, what big problem would you set them loose on?